We want to bring you the original now with in-depth reporting on a topic we've been watching. And tonight, it's about something that may or may not be on your radar up north, a so-called super pig invasion. And honestly, it is exactly like what it sounds like. These huge, very destructive feral pigs that have been bred in Canada, running wild there for decades, and now for the first time being spotted in the United States. Jesse Kirsch has more on the risks and what officials are planning to do about it.
Flying high over a frozen Canadian prairie, Dr. Ryan Brook, a PhD, is on the hunt for so-called super pigs.
A super pig is a hybrid between a European wild boar and a domestic pig. We get the benefits of having really thick, warm fur, long legs, big, long nose, razor-sharp tusks, but also large body size and very, very high reproductive output.
Associate Professor Brook has been studying feral swine for the past 13 years. He's now sounding the alarm on a huge population of super pigs that have been running wild in the Saskatchewan wilderness for decades.
They're the worst invasive large mammal on the planet.
Associate Professor Brooks says Canadian pig farmers first bred super pigs in the 80s in an effort to increase pork production. He says when the pork market collapsed in 2001, hundreds escaped captivity.
Wild pigs occupy over 700,000 square miles. You know, that's bigger than most countries.
And that's a problem for the United States because we already have a massive feral pig problem of our own. There are at least 6 million feral pigs across 35 states, mostly in the South, according to the USDA.
They do massive crop damage. The USDA says $2.5 billion per year just in crop damage alone. A couple of years ago, there was a woman in Texas that was actually killed by a group of wild pigs.
So far, U.S. feral pigs rarely venture to the frigid North and Midwest, according to the USDA, because they've adapted over hundreds of years to the warm, humid climate of the South. North Dakota's Deputy State Veterinarian Beth Carlson says,
We receive occasional reports of feral swine, and in some cases, it does seem that they may have traveled down from Canada.
On top of the agricultural and environmental damage they cause, feral swine are considered a breeding ground for diseases that can mutate and possibly infect humans, too.
Over 30 bacterial and viral diseases, over 40 parasites that are shared between pigs and humans and other domestic animals.
Ryan Powers is in charge of eliminating swine in North and South Dakota.
Early 2013 or so, we started to receive more reports of, what appeared to be these Eurasian boar that were on that northern border of North Dakota.
He says that so far, they've been able to prevent any wild pigs from establishing a foothold. But eliminating them is a balancing act, and sport hunting is not the answer.
The more pressure that feral swine get placed upon them, they do become nocturnal. We've observed that here in North Dakota. You could even, create additional problems by separating the group and having then these populations go in multiple directions.
Associate Professor Brook warns what's happened in Canada is a cautionary tale.
We never found a wild pig in Canada anywhere in 2002 in all of our research. Now we have thousands of them spread across Canada. Once they're firmly established, they are there for the duration. You will have them for 500 years.
Hey, 500 years, folks. 500 years. That is not a short amount of time. Jesse Kirsch is joining us now. Can I ask you a question, Jesse? What is the difference between these Canadian super pigs that there's the concern about versus your regular old American wild pig that's already in the U.S.?
Yeah, I like that, your regular old American wild pig. Well, Hallie, it's really just about simple geography, right? We're talking about a group of pigs in the U.S. that is used to the warmer southern climate, and then you're talking about this Canadian group used to the colder temperatures. And so our northern states aren't used to seeing this, and so that is part of the concern here is how do they adapt to that issue, because they're starting to see something that is new to them. And as was just mentioned there, and you hit it again, we're talking about something that could be a centuries-long problem, Hallie.
Have there been any encounters, super pig encounters between regular people and these things?
Yeah, well, if you encounter one of these things, the advice is do not engage, step away, and notify authorities, because as we were just talking about there, this is something that can be a concern for potentially transmitting disease. Definitely not something you want to mess around with.
What do you think I'm going to do? Jesse, I'm not engaging in a super pig. Let me tell you, never. You don't have to tell me twice. The risk is real, though, as you talk about.
Pig.
Seriously, but as you say, like the risk is very real, and that is why there are these warning bells that are sounding about this now, right? That's why these officials are sounding the alarm.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.